Welcome to episode 21 of the Take Two podcast, where we thought comedy was back, but in fact it's dead, and this movie, Happy Gilmore 2, killed it. I'm Kenny, this is Sam. Sam, how could you? We had so many movies that we could have talked about today. We could have gone back and talked about the F1 movie. We could have talked about Naked Gun 2. We could have talked about the three biggest movies of the summer in Jurassic Park, Superman, and Fantastic Four, but no. No, we ended up landing with this Netflix slop of Happy Gilmore 2, potentially the worst movie I've seen all year. How are you, and what do you have to say for yourself?
I am doing great. I am super happy to be talking about Happy Gilmore 2. For all your hate on Happy Gilmore 2 and how it's not as popular as these other movies, I completely disagree with that. I think it's just as popular of a box office movie, but even though it wasn't the box office, you look at
Yeah, what box office, Sam? What box office? It wasn't shown in theaters. It was shown in like 12 total theaters around the world.
so what I focus on in the modern day and age, since movie theaters are dying, is viewer count and how many people are watching the movie. And Netflix is the biggest streaming service in the world globally. Okay. And so they put out a ton of originals, a ton of movies. And this movie, Happy Gilmore 2, got about 50 million views in its first 3 days. So that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That is the biggest US opening weekend for a Netflix film in the history of Netflix. Okay. So the biggest debut ever in all of Netflix, the biggest streaming service in the world, is Happy Gilmore 2. That is more viewers than any of these other films, like Superman and those, even though Superman and Jurassic World and all those movies making, $500 million, which is awesome. That's great. I'm excited to talk about those in the future. Still less viewers than Happy Gilmore 2. And it's because of the accessibility of Happy Gilmore 2. This is something that people can watch day one. They don't have to pay money for if they're already paying for the streaming service. So that's why I want to talk about Happy Gilmore 2, outside of the fact that I'm a big Happy Gilmore fan. So that is why I think Happy Gilmore 2, among so many reasons, deserves our expert film discussion today.
Cool, cool. Next week we'll be talking about SJVU and Chicago Fire and Grey's Anatomy because that's what most people watch. That's what we've designed, like what we've resigned ourselves to. Let me give you some more stats here on Happy Gilmore 2. 52% on Metacritic, 62% on the tomato meter with 69% popcorn meter, and a 2.8% on Letterboxd out of 335,000 people. This movie is just an absolute disappointment in every single way. It is unfunny. It is 1 hour and 45 minutes, and I actually counted how many times I laughed in this movie, and it was four. I was texting Sam as I go. Two of those happened within 30 seconds of each other, and the rest of the movie was boring. Adam Sandler has never been less funny. The cameos are fine, but don't add anything to the movie. For some reason, Shooter McGavin is all like he just, flips on a dime. Is like, oh, I'm a good guy now, for no reason. Even though we thought he was going to be some psycho killer, they set him up to be a psycho killer in this movie, and he's not that. Huge disappointment. Let maybe we should back up and let's talk about the first Happy Gilmore 2. So this is a movie that did you draft this movie? Did you draft Happy Gilmore in our sports movie Mount Rushmore? I was trying to remember.
Yes, it was my last pick. So I think it was like the 12th pick of all of our movies, which I had some friends over recently, and I was telling them we were going through our Mount Rushmore, and everyone was like, yes, Happy Gilmore deserves to be on that list, which I was like, that's nice to have some positive feedback to Happy Gilmore. I am going into Happy Gilmore. Lauren and I rewatched it in preparation for Happy Gilmore 2. I've probably seen this movie at least half a dozen times. I have a personal fondness to this movie where it was the first real comedy movie when I was younger that I saw where I was laughing on the ground the entire time. I remember exactly where I was when I was watching it, like in my parents' living room or my old house, and I just never seen something like this. It was really funny, and I think it was a big deal. Sort of when it came out, it was successful in the box office. It was kind of it was our second exposure to Adam Sandler comedy. It was like right after Billy Madison. And a lot of people, say that those two films are the golden age of Adam Sandler comedy, which is Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. And it hits the original Happy Gilmore, like Billy Madison, hits this really weird thing where it's like he's basically acting like a man child. He doesn't have his life together. And there's a lot of outlandish stuff, like comedy, kind of slapstick comedy, but it also feels in those two movies very down to earth, very heartwarming and like charming for what it is. He somehow struck a really good balance, and we'll get into whether or not that succeeds in Happy Gilmore too. But the first movie is an absolute cult classic. Everybody loves it. I can't ever go golfing in my life without at least one Happy Gilmore reference. Like, it is peak iconicness for comedy movies, and just it has carved out a place in film. Like, everyone knows what Happy Gilmore is, and I think it was a unique fish out of water story. And we rewatched the first film, me and Lauren did. We were laughing throughout the whole thing. It was 90 minutes, like a comedy should be, like to the T 90 minutes. It was sharp, short. Every character nails their roles. You're getting characters that use these roles to blow up, like Ben Stiller. Like, this is, he has a small role in the movie, 3 or 4 scenes, and he's hysterical, nails every line. And that's how everything felt in the first movie. Like, everybody just nails every single line. And just very, very iconic. There's countless, it's almost one of those things where, now, if I'm rating the first Happy Gilmore, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. I'd say a lot of people might be in that 7.5 range. I get it. That's totally fine. I just think for how iconic it is, how rewatchable it is, I almost think it's placed on like an unfair pedestal. Like, me and Lauren rewatched it, and she was like, yeah, I'd probably give it like a 7.5. And it's like, everyone's seen the movie so many times, or it's been played, or scenes have been played, or gifs are made like everywhere from this movie, that it's almost unfair rewatching it because it so well, where you're like we're still laughing throughout the film, but it's like, I've seen it so many times. It's like, I know what lines are coming. I know what the next scene is. I know every beat of the movie. And so comedies over time, it's like hearing the same joke 10 times, right? Like, even in the film Happy Gilmore, Shooter McGavin makes a joke, and a few people laugh, and a guy doesn't laugh, and he's like, why aren't you laughing? You used to love that joke. And he's like, yeah, I liked it the first time you said it. Well, that's Happy Gilmore. We've seen it, 6, 7, 8 times. We've had the movie with us for 30 years, that it's like trying to judge it as a fresh comedy is really tough, where like when it came out, it was sort of a shocking, unique, fresh idea. And now we see a lot of people, like, I could even argue that Will Ferrell replicated half his successful career off the first Happy Gilmore, where it was like he went and did Semi-Pro, he did Talladega Nights, he did Kicking and Screaming, where he just essentially decided, hey, what worked for Adam Sandler, who, like, I was on SNL with? Oh, it was playing sort of a buffoon in a sports movie. And that's what he went and did, and he made a huge career out of it. Like, you could argue Adam Sandler was only able to do it once well, and then Will Ferrell was able to generally do a better job. But anyways, quick review, Happy Gilmore. Love it. Classic. We were very excited for Happy Gilmore 2. So that's my lead-in to Happy Gilmore 2. What was your revisit on Happy Gilmore, Kenny?
So I had actually never seen Happy Gilmore before a week ago. So I was kind of going in with it fresh, and I do think that the movie probably does suffer for me a little bit. I think I ended up giving it like 6 out of 10. Primarily just because there's so much hype, and like I feel like it was a funny movie. I laughed a lot. I do think that Adam Sandler's great in it. I actually also do like Adam Sandler just as like a guy. He seems like he's like one of the most normal people in Hollywood, it seems like at times, and like everyone just has great stuff to say about him, like across the board. he just seems to be a really stand-up guy. So none of the criticism I have today is going to be directed at him because he does also a lot of cool charity work and all that good stuff. But I watched the movie and I like the first movie and I did laugh. I thought it was funny. It's good to go back to like the shticky stuff and the spoofs on these movies. And I do think that, you know, the idea of I can clearly see like the inception of this idea of me playing golf and I'm terrible at golf. I'm specifically very bad at putting, being like, yeah, I actually probably could golf better with a hockey stick than I could with an with an actual golf club. And so it's very funny, and it is like the first movie plays into very much just the kind of, hey, golf can be so up its own butt sometimes in terms of its culture, and Happy Gilmore comes in and changes things. And yeah, like a lot of things happen because he's just lucky. He just has these crazy shots that should never work, and he has a, I don't know what the golf equivalent for rocket for an arm is, but he has that, and that's like, yeah, that's the coolest part of golf is driving. And when we then transition into Happy Gilmore 2, one of the biggest beefs I have with the movie is all of a sudden Adam Sandler is the guy who's defending traditional golf. It's just like, no, logically and from like a rhetorical perspective, Happy Gilmore should be part of Maxi Golf. Like, yes, it's stupid and just basically kind of playing off of like a Top Golf sort of thing where it's just all super sticky, and kind of surprised that neither of the Paul brothers were in this movie. You know, this feels like a movie that like Logan and whatever the other one, Jake Paul would show up in, where it's just like, I mean, there's 50 other cameos in this movie and somehow they didn't make it in there. But this movie, it just doesn't make any sense. How does Happy Gilmore go from being a revolutionary to the game of golf, being the second best golfer in the 90s, as this movie tells us, behind Tiger Woods, just because he's revolutionizing the game? He's wearing his Penguins jersey. He's just doing all this crazy stuff. And the beginning of the movie just shows how his next like 10 years is all of that. And then we come to this movie, he's like, oh no, these guys are my friends. All of these golf schmucks are my friends. And oh, how could, I'm here to defend. I mean, the funniest part of the movie is when he hits a, what is it called? It's not a foul ball. I clearly don't know a lot about golf, but he hits a ball off of the fairway and it hits his wife, and his wife just like passes away in the middle of like just very random, kind of a dark humor thing. Where that was actually one of my laughs, just because I did not see that coming whatsoever. And he quits golf. He goes away, and then he comes back. He's like, oh, but like my wife loved golf the way it was, and it's like, no, she didn't. She married you. Like, she
So
did not love golf the way it was.
Kenny is immediately just bleeding right into his hatred for Happy Gilmore too, and so I guess we can sort of jump into our Happy Gilmore 2 review here. I have so many things. I've been wanting to talk about this for so long. So, as someone who grew up with Happy Gilmore, I find it interesting that was the first time you've seen Happy Gilmore. I found that very interesting for someone, because comedies.
I watched a lot of comedies growing up. Like I feel like I missed out on a ton of comedies. Like a lot of the Ben Stiller movies when we were watching it was like my first time watching Zoolander or Meet the Parents. I just I have a huge gap in my movie knowledge when it comes to comedy. So I was glad to fill this one in. Like, and I would rewatch the first Happy Gilmore. I think it was fun. I had a good time.
I mean, I think that's great. Thank goodness I'm here to fill in your comedies, because I am the biggest comedy fan ever. And so, like, you are talking to somebody who will find like anything funny. I found like so much humor in this film called, I think it was called Movie 47. People say it was like one of the worst movies ever made, and it has all these like A-list actors doing some of the most ridiculous sketches ever. And I still found it hilarious. Like, I will find the funny in something if I can. And
is that the one with Hugh Jackman in the chin?
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some bad stuff, but like I have a lot of different funny bones in my body, and I want to find the funny in everything. Like, I will try and see, where is the funny coming from. I hate to miss out on the joke. I hate to be the stick in the mud. I feel the same way for horror films, right? Horror and comedy are very similar in a lot of ways, where there are a lot of people out there who are just like, nothing scares me. It's fake. Or like, I don't get scared. Like, I won't get, and it's like, dude, that's not the point. Like, if you're gonna watch a scary movie, like, lean into what's happening. Become immersed. The point is to get scared, right? It's like going on a roller coaster and being like, this does nothing for me. Look how cool I am. Look how masculine I am. This roller coaster, I feel nothing. It's like, dude, that's not the point. The point of going on a roller coaster is like to feel like you're 12 years old again. Like to have that thrill and to get lost in like what's happening around you and like to not be so, like I said, a stick in the mud. So I am that guy.
I totally agree that, and like I didn't go into this movie not wanting to like it. I went into Happy Gilmore 2 being like, I'm excited for a good laugh, like I was in the first movie. And it's another reason why I'm hugely disappointed is Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler, plays the straight man in this movie. He is entirely devoid of all comedy. And it's like, no. Adam Sandler is one of the great comedic minds of his generation and into our generation. He's been around for so long and he's made so many things that made so many people laugh, and all of a sudden he's playing this straight man who is allowing other people to try to be funny around him, in particular professional golfers who, yeah, they did, like, I was charmed by the professional golfers in this movie, but they don't have the comedic timing that Adam Sandler has, and he just chose not to show it. He like it's almost as though he didn't even want to do this movie. He just shows up for the Netflix paycheck, and because he has that contract with Netflix, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so here's the thing. With my whole preamble, yeah, Lauren and I were very excited to watch this film, and I thought the first 3 minutes of the film was awesome. They were kind of doing a recap. You felt some classicness. Basically all the way leading up till Virginia Bennett's death, his wife's death, which in that moment you're like, oh, that's kind of funny because it's shocking, and we're like, oh, we're going to take a different turn here and maybe like see a different style, like so let's see where they go with the plot. After that 3-minute opening, the movie is just crashing face first downhill for what feels like 3 hours. Like it's almost a 2-hour film, which is crazy. It is the worst comedy sequel I've ever seen. Now, it's very difficult to pull off a comedy sequel. Some have done it well. Okay, I think Neighbors 2 was better than Neighbors. I think Anchorman 2 is underrated, and it's probably just about as good as the first Anchorman. There's a few out there that have done a good job.
22 Jump Street might be better than 21.
100%. I think 22 Jump Street is a little better than 21 Jump Street. So, like, there have been some comedies that have done it well. This one does not. I completely agree with you in that it feels like, one, Adam Sandler does not want to be in this film at all. I have never, ever seen him look so bored in a film before. He just looks like he is just rolling with the punches. He looks tired. He just looks like he's the opposite of what the original Happy Gilmore character was. So really frustrating to see that. And I was told, of course, he has this $275 million deal with Netflix, which is great. Good for him. And he's hit a couple films, like Murder Mystery that he did was also, when it came out, like the biggest opening Netflix had ever had for a movie. And it was surprisingly good. Made a sequel, not very good. But like, he basically has to come to Netflix with these film ideas. And it feels like maybe he didn't have one and he was just like, Happy Gilmore 2, and we let AI write it? Like we say, if AI was a Gen Zer writing Happy Gilmore 2, can you write me a script? And we're not even going to look it over and we're just going to run with it. That was this movie. I couldn't even, and Kenny, get this. Like, this movie has a higher score on Rotten Tomatoes than the original, which is like I believe I saw that. And the original is like a cult classic, beloved by all. This is the most, I have not seen a film more divisive than Happy Gilmore 2 in like 10 years, 50. I don't know how long it's been. I made a silly little sketch on my TikTok. I've been really busy. I haven't been able to do it. I just like basically took a video of myself being like, how hard I laughed during Happy Gilmore 2. And it was me just like stone faced, not laughing at all. And I'm telling you, Kenny, within minutes, I had a dozen comments of people ripping me, saying the movie was so funny, saying like I'm a stick in the mud, like I'm the funny police, and how much people love this movie. So I'm asking myself like, did I miss it? Where did I go wrong here? Like I had people commenting and being like, the movie was just okay, but every cameo was hilarious. I saw that there were something like 75 cameos in this movie, which is crazy to me because I'm like, okay, on the one hand, it shows you how many people, how many huge celebrities, from Margaret Qualley, who's like the it girl in Hollywood right now, to Eminem, right, who like has one of the biggest worldwide brands and names. All these people wanting and willing to be in a Happy Gilmore sequel because the movie is such a cult classic and it's so beloved that they're all in this film for like basically nothing. They're like, you don't really have to pay me anything. Like, I just want to be there.
Ultimately as a favor to Adam Sandler, because again, Adam Sandler is friends with everyone in Hollywood because he's just he's a chill dude, and like it must be written into his contract because all of his Netflix movies are like this. Where it's just like, hey, I'll do this movie as long as I can just invite all of my friends and do whatever, and like we can just go on vacation and have a good time, basically.
Totally. And the way I see it is I'm like, okay, you see all these people lining up to be in this movie. That is a testament to how good the first movie is. But it is also the cheapest thing I've ever seen because they're basically like, we know the movie's terrible, but look at this famous person. Look at Travis Kelce. Look at Bad Bunny. Look at Eminem. Look at Rory McIlroy. Or like they're just like the movie's so bad, but we just have to point to celebrities the whole time that Gen Zers will recognize. Yeah, I know that person. I know. I like that person. I like them. Look, they're in the movie. That's like everyone. Like I was getting comments from people just like, "Oh, the movie's not great, but I laughed so hard every time I saw a cameo." Like, why? We don't want to see Travis Kelce in the movie. He's a bad actor. Like, he's just Taylor Swift's, like, man-child boy toy, like, slave now. Like, okay, I'll take a deep breath. I'm going to let you, like, lean in response. I'm very upset and passionate about this movie, but I'm also equally confused at how many people liked it. My whole feed was split with either it wasn't funny or people were like, this movie's hilarious, and I laughed the entire time. And I'm like, well, did you get dropped on your head as a kid? Okay, I'm just gonna like.
Right. I think so. This movie has been watched by 335,000 people and has been logged on Letterboxd, and it has a 2.8% on Letterboxd. That's a like anything in the twos is honestly just a not good.
That's way higher. When you were texting me, by the way, before you saw it, and you were like trashing on the movie, and you were like, oh, it's got this bad of a score on Letterboxd. I was like, that's way too high. like you don't even, you think you're trashing on it? Like that's actually way better than it should be. Like shame on Letterboxd.
No, it's just the nature of like, people are logging it and like, yeah, maybe some people have a good time and that's fine. But the fact that a comedy is doing so poorly on a like audience driven platform just kind of goes to show it's like it didn't land. And comedy's hard. Like you said before, there are a lot of ties to comedy and horror. And there, sometimes it hits and sometimes it doesn't. And it's just the high, like both of those movies are equal, like types of movies are equally high risk in terms of if it works or if it doesn't. One thing I can tell you is this movie is horrific in terms of how bad it is. It's just it's all cameos. The whole thing is cameos. He struggles, like they have John Daly just drinking hand sanitizer the whole movie as though that's just like the funniest thing in the world. I'm kind of surprised that there weren't more of what I would expect to see in terms of like Gen Z cameos. Like again, didn't see a Paul brother, didn't see Mr. Beast. I didn't see any. I mean, I guess I'm not super up on my Twitch streamers, so maybe there were some Twitch streamers in there, but it was a bunch of people who were like, oh, I know them kind of from like a long time ago. Again, they're just all Adam Sandler's buddies. Look, we'll go ahead and we haven't summarized the movie yet. We've just trashed on it for probably 15
Okay,
minutes.
Kenny, good luck summarizing the movie. It was the most confusing movie I've ever seen. But let's give a 30-second to minute summary. Let's see if you can even summarize this film because it's so confusing.
I'm actually going to try to do it in 15 seconds. You ready?
Yes.
Happy Gilmore 2 experiences great success both from a family perspective and a professional perspective for 10 years after their first Happy Gilmore. He wins 5 other gold coats. He has 5 kids. He has 4 sons and a daughter with what's-her-face. And then, as we mentioned before, there's a tragic accident. He's on the course. He drives the ball directly into his wife and kills her. And so he decides to give up. He decides to give up golf, and he goes into drinking. And then his daughter, who's played by his actual daughter in real life, one of the cameos is his actual daughter, wants to go to ballet school, but he's broke. And so he has to go back and play golf. And guess what? There's a new league in town, kind of the the Maxi Golf League, which is basically just like Top Golf in real life, and it's just full of a bunch of TikTokers, and there's explosions and stuff. And then chaos ensues where he decides to side for some reason with the original golfers, and a ragtag team of pro golfers and him take on the Maxi League and end up defeating him.
Well, that was a good 15-second review turned into 1 minute, but good try. Good try. Kenny, no one can summarize this film in 15 seconds. It's all over the place. That is a testament to how all over the place this movie is. Like, the Maxi League...
Also, yeah, it felt like 15 seconds to me because it's a bunch of nothing. Like, there's no substance in anything that I said. It's cotton candy. It's 75% air. It's ridiculous.
It's honestly so bad. I can't even. It's.
How many times did you laugh? Did you count?
Yes, I counted. I would say I laughed 7 times. And that is not good considering a comedy show or a comedy film. On average, there tends to be a joke about every 30 seconds. Now, no one's asking for every joke to land, but for a movie that has about 300 jokes in it, right? And I'm trying to laugh on their top, and my laughs were spaced out from beginning to end. I stayed engaged. I kept saying, I was like, if there's a funny part, I want to watch it. I found the funny jokes spaced out throughout, but that's like 7 in like 300. Like, you're batting like 1% there, 2%. Like you're having to sit through some garbage. Like, he kills Virginia Bennett, who was like one of the most charming characters. They kill her off, and she comes back in his head through her feet. But it almost feels like he kills her off to bring his own wife into the film, which he's done with all his films the last like 10 years. Like, he brings his wife to act in the film, and she's like the dancing instructor, and she's only in it for a little bit. His other daughter is also in the film as part of the AA group. And it's like, it just felt like he's just there to like, hey, maybe we can get my family some roles in this. Like I did with my last movie, like You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah or whatever, which I liked that movie, but we won't go into that. But like, again, it just felt like he was kind of trying to get everyone involved, but he himself didn't want to be there. And like, his sons are like responsible for maybe 1 or 2 of the laughs I had, but he's got like 4 or 5 sons, and they're just like really obnoxious, and they're all just clones of each other, and it just, everything was so cheap.
They're a bunch of like Newsy style, street urchins in real life. That's kind of the sense of what they are. It also goes, like, you're right, he's just piling so many people in here, and this movie is 1 hour and 54 minutes long. It is 20-ish minutes longer than the original movie, and that extra 20 minutes is just purely because it is so bloated. It is so super saturated with the additional muck and people that were in this movie. The original movie had like 5 people. Yeah, it definitely had a few cameos in it, and that was like, he fights who's the guy
Bob Barker?
Yeah, Bob Barker, and that's really funny. But that's, that is kind of it in terms of, it's a much more lean movie, and that's what comedy should be. Like, you can't be making jokes when there are this many people who need to have a certain amount of screen time per contract in the movie.
You're right. And you also, like, you got to think the original film, like, Carl Weathers is playing Chubbs, who's like a super iconic character. And it's like, so you get a great actor playing a comedy role. Like, you know, he was Apollo Creed in Rocky, right? Like he was a famous actor, and like he's nailing a comedy role. You have Christopher McDonald, like Shooter McGavin is like one of the most iconic villains like in the history of film. That's not like, you know, Lord Voldemort, like just a normal dude in a comedy. Like he is so iconic. Like everyone quotes him 24/7. Like I heard that, and I've seen him. He seems like a super like nice guy. Like I guess when they're shooting this movie, everyone was asking for his autograph. Like fans were there as extras, and he was signing everyone's autograph. He was super nice. I heard a hilarious story. I guess I should just put it in here, that somebody said like they saw him at an airport like 10 years ago, and he was walking by, and somebody came up. This guy like came up and asked for his autograph, and he was like, "I don't do autographs." He like kept walking, and then he turned around like 10 seconds later, and he like looked at the guy, and he was like, "Choke on that, baby!" And then he just like kept walking. So like he's just like a fun, lovable guy that's like in character and just like happy to make people laugh around him. Which is the saddest part of this film, is they completely destroyed his character. Like they completely missed on the plot of this film. Like the plot of this film, there are so many other things they could have done, and all people wanted more, like you mentioned, Kenny. We didn't want the bloat. We wanted it tight. We just wanted more Happy Gilmore being happy, not him playing the straight man. It would have been great to see Shooter McGavin, you know, maybe Happy Gilmore. It almost was written perfectly. He could have had a Michael Jordan-esque thing where he was there in the 90s, right? And he could have like had some success and retired. And maybe after he left, Shooter McGavin takes over and like becomes the most popular and like wins all these titles. And it's like, but he never beat Happy. And like, and he's basically like, I'm challenging Happy Gilmore to come back out of retirement and beat me so I can say that I'm the best. And like, we could have got that old rivalry back with like Shooter being Shooter and Happy being Happy. Not all these weird TikTok nobodies. It felt like you saw the Minecraft movie. I didn't, but it felt like cotton candy throw up. I was like, is this what the Minecraft movie was? Is this what we're heading towards, where it's just like bright colors and sounds and like nonsense? Like I couldn't believe it.
I found the Minecraft movie to be slightly more structured than this. It also, I mean, Minecraft movie is kind of like what you would expect. This is not what you were expecting from a Happy Gilmore movie. Let's kind of focus in on Shooter McGavin a little bit. We find out that Shooter McGavin for the past 30 years has been in a mental institution because losing the gold coat actually drove him insane, which is kind of funny. I was like, okay, yeah, that's like, it's goofy and that aligns with what you would see in a normal Adam Sandler movie, where it's like this level of absurdist comedy, which is totally fine. And so he gets recruited by the person who is leading the Maxi League. Who's that guy?
I don't know. He was like kind of weird. He seemed like he was wearing eyeliner like the whole time.
Yeah, I was like, if I saw this dude in real life, I'd probably know who he was, but I could not.
No, I looked him up. I looked him up, and I was like, he's kind of familiar, and I didn't really recognize him in anything. I think he's like kind of a nobody or kind of on the up and up, but yeah.
Okay, cool. So he gets recruited by the Maxi League, which I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is kind of what I would expect from the story. They're bringing Shooter back because he is Happy's nemesis, and because Shooter is such a snob-nosed classic golfer, when he finds out that what's his face is trying to ruin traditional golf, he's like, no, I will stand with traditional golf and I will stand by Happy Gilmore. It's like, that's stupid. Like, how much more interesting of a story would have been of like, hey, traditional golf let you down, Shooter, and it's all because of Happy Gilmore. Like, why did we not get that face off? And instead he becomes like the Master Shifu character to these other pro golfers of, we're gonna, the 5 rules of dodgeball this, and kind of try a bunch of different stuff when it comes to golf. And it was just like such a disappointment. The other thing, the funniest parts about this movie were also recycled jokes, like when Happy and Shooter meet each other in the graveyard and they're just rolling around to all the people who had died in the previous movie, and it's like, yeah, I wish they were in this movie. That would have been way funnier.
Talk about like, okay, I haven't seen this much nostalgia porn since Spider-Man No Way Home. Okay, like except way worse. Like, okay, No Way Home, like, even though I'm not as high in it as a lot of people are, it felt way more put together, way more heartwarming. This was so bad that it, like, the nostalgia was like, we're going to show you a line someone says, and then we're going to show you the line in a, like, sepia tone flashback from the old film, just so we're making a callback for all you people who haven't seen the old film. And it's like, we kept having to see those where it was like, yeah, we know, we've seen the movie. Like, you shouldn't be really having to give a lot of flashbacks like that. Like, that's you're really bad.
Well, we talked about it last week of the second screen phenomenon that Netflix absolutely chefs under. This is literally their bread and butter. And that's what those are. It's like, oh yeah, like, remember when this happened? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, we're in a flashback. Oh, pew, And it's like, yeah, pew was funny the first time I saw it. Honestly, just a great review for this movie would literally be just that clip from the first Happy Gilmore of, yeah, it's a good joke. It was funny the first time I heard it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's so funny. That's what's so ironic is there's like a little joke in the first film that, like, yeah, is sort of a dark undertone to this movie, because this movie, like, okay, there's going to be a famous shtick in this movie, right? And about at least a dozen times, Adam Sandler turns into an alcoholic. It's just such a cheap thing, and we don't even buy it. It's really weird. Where, like, he hides alcohol everywhere, right? And he has these makeshift flasks everywhere. And the first time he did a makeshift flask, I laughed. I was like, all right, that's funny. He did it a second time. I was like, that's a funny callback. The third time, I was like, whoa, are we really going down this route? And they did it like a dozen times, and it's like, guys, you're killing the joke to death. Like, that was one of your only new original jokes, and you beat it to death. Outside of that, it's just like callback, cameo, and it's just, anyways, we could go on about this film, but, like, at the end of the day, Kenny, I'll give you my rating of this movie. Out of 10, I'm going to give this movie a 1.5 out of 10. A 1.5. And maybe that's being generous. So 1.5 out of 10 for me. I'm sorry if I get any hate for this. 1.5 out of 10.
When I walked away from the movie yesterday, I initially gave it actually a 4 out of 10. Primarily because, like, Adam Sandler by himself is not bad in this movie. He just is choosing not to be funny. There's nothing in this movie that is like it, and it also does not lean very heavily on some of the Adam Sandler's Netflix movies that are just focused so much on crude humor. And listen, I'll laugh at a fart joke just like the next guy will, but sometimes it is a little bit too much even for me. But ultimately, it's just like this movie is just like inoffensive. And did I feel like I wasted my time watching it? Yes, but if it, it's not necessarily the worst thing I've ever seen. This is one of the worst things I've seen this year. And but the more I talk about it, I am finding more and more things to, like, be offended by in terms of why it's a lot of what isn't there. So if I'm judging the movie from what's there, it's like, okay, 4 out of 5. It's a generally bad movie, but it's not, I don't know. It's a nothing movie. It's nothing. And so it can only be so bad. But then if you're judging it as what it could have been, then yeah, I think 1.5, 2 is very reasonable.
You say it's inoffensive. I was offended the whole time. I was offended at how bad I was. I was embarrassed for the film. I think what's there is just as much of a problem as what is there. The cameos, the rehash jokes, the bloated plot. Like, I'm having to sit through and watch this. It is one of the worst films I've ever watched. Like, this is legitimately one of the worst movies I've ever watched. Like, I am so considering, just for fun. Now, for everyone who doesn't know this, like all of only our people in our Discord know this, I'm getting surgery on Tuesday. And so potentially life-threatening, because anything can happen in surgery. And if this is one of the last movies I watched, I'm not going to be happy. If I'm like, ascending from my body, and I'm looking down and be like, what is wrong with you? Why did you spend your time watching this movie? This was a terrible movie. And so I was offended.
You're going to ask God when you get to heaven is,
God, why? Why Happy Gilmore 2?
The last movie I ever saw.
Why? I know there's a plan for everything, but why was Happy Gilmore 2 the last movie I saw? So, yeah, I was offended by the film. I did waste my time. I'm thinking about doing a rewatch and taking a drink every time I don't laugh. And I'm hoping the idea is perhaps as I get more drunk, I will find it funnier. And I won't have to continue drinking. So that's my idea. I might do it. We'll see. We'll see how many people.
We should do like a live Twitch stream of us just rewatching this movie together.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We should totally do it. Do a live stream where we drink every time we don't laugh. It would be awesome.
It's gonna be a long night.
It's gonna be a long night. Yeah, but. Anyways, I guess before we sign off for Happy Gilmore 2, real quick, Kenny, what's your off the hip? What's your favorite Adam Sandler movie? And let's say comedy movie. Obviously we're not going to throw Uncut Gems in there because that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I really like Waterboy. Waterboy is really funny.
Okay, Waterboy. I'll go with the original Happy Gilmore. And yeah, but I can see. Yeah, and again, as I mentioned,
Longest Yard.
Yeah, he's Longest Yard, which I really liked. Right, he was like I said, he was the original Will Ferrell. It was Waterboy, it was Longest Yard, it was Happy Gilmore, it was sports movies. And then when he stopped, Will Ferrell sort of came along and took his shtick. Did a good job, but yeah.
We should rewatch some of those movies to kind of cleanse our palate from this.
I think if we're up for it, maybe at some point we need to do an Adam Sandler ranked list of best comedies. So,
there are still some huge stinkers in this list. Like some of these movies are still gonna be quite painful.
Have you ever seen an actor who's more hit or miss than Adam Sandler?
No, I literally don't, and I also just think that he just doesn't. I kind of respect him for it, but like he just doesn't care. A lot of times.
I mean, he's making $275 million from Netflix one way or another. He does not care. He's getting that paycheck. Like,
yeah, he knows that he just has it set up beautifully for him because it's $275 million no matter what.
Right.
It's just like
it's like the football player or the sports player, right? That plays really well for their contract, and once you pay them, you give them the guarantee money. You're like, wait a minute. What happened to you? You were supposed to be great. And they're like, I got paid. They're like, I'm not working towards that much more anymore. Like, this is the prime. You paid me, sucker.
Oh, dude, he's in Pixels.
I heard that's like the worst movie ever.
This is going to be like there's some of these movies that would be such a painful rewatch. I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. That one's actually quite funny. I'm just going through.
Okay, don't spoil. We will do an Adam Sandler list. We'll find a time, either like this week or next week. We'll find a time to do it. But okay, we are gonna sign off. So, the only last thing I'll say, Kenny, having Happy Gilmore at a 6 and Happy Gilmore 2 only at a 4, a 2-point difference. That's pretty close. That's a little. You go like this. And maybe they're the same. That's a little scary. I'm offended by that.
Yeah. I could go lower on this movie. That'd be fine.
I'm shocked at how much you hated this movie, giving it a 4. I'm like, man, you're a nice guy. You're a really nice guy. I appreciate that. All right, so we're gonna sign off. We're gonna get our audio fixed next time. Sorry if the audio wasn't as good this time. Whole computer issue, but we will be firing our producer. But Kenny, any last words?
Shooter.
Oh, and sub, like, and comment since we always forget to say that. So thanks so much. Have a great day.